let's say I'm a client, or let's say I'm someone listening, a listener, and I'm 55, 65, 70, and I want, why is it important for me or for someone listening to understand and plan for these type of needs for long-term care?
Yeah, that's a good question. Well, we don't. The problem with long-term care planning is we don't really know if we'll ever need it. But not having it can be detrimental. We'll get into the numbers side of it in a little bit, but I mentioned that 70% figure. 70% of today's 65-year-olds will need some sort of care. We don't know how long it'll be. We don't know how intensive it will be. We don't know what type of care that will be in the future. And there's a difference between genders too. So the averages are about 3.7 years for women needing some sort of care, and then only 2.2 for men.
Why is that?
Women live longer,
yeah.
Right? And so, plus, women tend to be good caretakers too, so they may be able to lend a hand in those scenarios for the husband or for the man. And so it's important to understand that when it comes to planning, because if you don't have a plan, then you really only have one option. And that's paying for these services out of pocket. We'll get into, how to approach this conversation later on. But
I think you also pointed out one of the difficulties of it, which is, if it will happen. Sometimes I tell clients, I'm not sure if it's right or wrong when I'm first sitting down with them. It's like, okay, let's deal with the two definites, i.e., you're going to retire and you're going to die. Yeah. Those are definites, right? So, okay, let's make sure you have a retirement plan in place, an income plan, an investment plan, tax plan, et cetera. But let's also make sure you have a legacy plan in place, again, because those are two definites. And I think sometimes it's like, well, as Pat you're saying, it's like, well, I don't know if will it happen? Not sure if it's going to happen. I think sometimes we get a little, people deny, our denial, like, I don't want to address this. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think there's so many different reasons why people just never really look it in the face and look in the mirror and be like, okay, I need to come up with something.
And everyone probably needs some sort of planning, but especially if you're living by yourself.
Right. Yeah. Some people more rather than less. Exactly. Or we'll need it more rather than less.
Doesn't mean if you're married, shouldn't have it, because again, imagine being 80 years old. And if you're, a bigger person, or even 150 or 200 pounds or more, and someone else is going to, your husband or wife who's at that same age to take care of you, think about it. That's like literally lifting you from place to place, getting you into a wheelchair or a bath, taking a bath. There's a lot of things that go into it. And so one of the questions, just kind of going to the third aspect of long-term care, is, doesn't Medicare cover this, right? That's one of the common questions that we receive.
Yeah, and it's a great question. And it's one of the biggest misconceptions too, because it unfortunately doesn't. The answer is kind of, sort of, but no. So Medicare will cover the critical care that Matt had already talked about a little bit, but it'll only cover up to 100 days of that care, and then you're on your own. So whether you're taking it from your investments or your portfolio, but Medicare will not cover it. I mean, there are some health insurance carriers that may cover it, but it's very specific to that carrier.